Could it be that the Lord is reminding us that we're getting closer and closer and closer to the very end of this era?
The world in which we live is a mirror of what the Bible prophesies. Without a doubt, we're in the end times because there is so much bloodshed, misery, starvation, and conflict. However, the well-researched eschatologist and gospel teacher Max Lucado has stated unequivocally that Jesus will come at any time from now. The question is, how much time do we have? One of the main topics of discussion in the New Testament is the proximity of the Lord's return. 1 Peter 4:7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. The most important proof that his return is now very close is that he gave us clues in the conversation he had with his disciples. Matthew 24:3. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what will be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? In his response to this question, the Lord Jesus told us exactly how it will all play out, so that we will not be left in the dark. Matthew 24:6-14. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. The question is, have all these signs come to pass? Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. According to Matthew 24:22, humanity faces annihilation if Jesus Christ does not intervene in the world's affairs. It is crucial to keep in mind that, due to the US and USSR's creation and stockpile of hydrogen bombs, which made the rest of the world accept the existence of mutually assured destruction, humanity has only possessed the ability to destroy itself for just over 50 years. At the time, the United States was one of only 3 nuclear powers. Due to a nuclear arms race in the Middle East, China and France also joined the club by the middle of the 1960s. At this point, at least 8 countries have nuclear weapons, and this number is predicted to climb. Of course, the more nuclear-armed countries there are in the world, the more likely it is that someone will use these weapons for evil. No matter what happens, one thing is sure for Christians. Jesus Christ will intervene to save them from the apocalyptic devastation of this world. Furthermore, biblical predictions state that Jerusalem, referred to as the Holy Land, will serve as the geopolitical hub for events leading to the end of the world. Jesus gave an example of how Jerusalem would be at the center of the political and military unrest that would occur shortly before his return. Luke 21:20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. It was difficult for anyone living a century ago to comprehend the prophecy regarding Israel's re-establishment as a country. However, a lot of things had to be done for Bible prophecy to come to pass. Through the Old Testament prophet Zechariah, God divulged a lot of details about the end times and the return of Lord Jesus. Even though Zechariah lived more than 500 years before Christ's first advent, his writings are replete with insightful information about the state of the world today. Zechariah 12:2-3. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. Verses 8 and 9 of Zechariah 12 add more clarity. Zechariah 12, 8-9. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Even though there have been many wars in Jerusalem throughout history, reading these passages could give the impression that Zechariah's prophecies were about those past wars. But in reality, they are prophecies concerning the world we live in. An independent Jewish nation was only a pipe dream a century ago, but during World War I, it became closer when British Commonwealth forces captured Jerusalem from the Turks in December 1916. Soon after, the British government pledged to assist the establishment of an independent Jewish state in the ancient areas where Jews had long resided. 30 more years would pass until the idea was realized in 1948. Since then, the nation of Israel has had to fight her way out of 3 wars: 1948, 1967, and 1973.
I do not know how a person can process a nature that seems so out of whack without the promise that nature will be restored to its intended state.
It's also important to keep in mind that Jews and Christians both view history as linear. They think that the world is clearly moving in one direction. This historical period is without a doubt the final one before Jesus returns. It began 2 millennia ago with the establishment of the Church. The next great event is neither God intervening to save Christians from harm or from a particularly harsh persecution, but rather the return of Jesus, when he said his advent is near, or at hand, as the New Testament puts it. It has more to do with how he had arranged things than it does with the timing of his return. But the day of Jesus' return is almost here. James 5:7-8. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. The husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Max Lucado claims that since every Bible prophecy has almost been accomplished, there is a sense of urgency to the times we live in. And the next thing that God has planned is the rapture of Christians. In fact, a pivotal point in the fulfillment of Bible prophecy was marked by the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and the 2 superpowers' acquisition of the hydrogen bomb in the 1950s, which ushered in the era of mutually assured destruction. Now, everything makes sense. But Jesus himself said in Matthew, there is a far higher likelihood that our generation will live to see the second coming of Jesus Christ and the foundation of God's kingdom on earth. Matthew 24:34. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. It is reassuring and exciting to think that we appear to be part of the generation that will eventually witness the greatest event in human history, as Jesus clarifies to his followers in Luke 21:28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And all these things have already come to pass. With almost all of the biblical prophecies fulfilled, the next event will be the coming of the Lord Jesus, and this can happen any moment from now. Are you ready for his coming? While you're pondering on that question, kindly leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel so that I may continue to provide educational videos. Thank you for watching. Until next time.